What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Angele Altieri if this is your first time here, and welcome to the video. Today I'm doing a full depth guide on how to get the perfect base. So perfect foundation, snatched, contoured, bronzed, blushed, and highlighted base. This video is all about the base, all about the face. So my eyes and lips are bare minimum mascara, lip gloss. So if you're interested in how to get the perfect base to your makeup look, full coverage, glam, then you know the deal, and you know the vibes. Let's get it. Okay, we are about to get so in depth. It's not even funny. I don't mind the hair. I just wanted it out the way. I'm already moisturized. I did wash my face not too long ago because I was outside earlier. It was sweaty. I was getting oily already, so I washed my face. I have a light moisturizer, the Glow Recipe moisturizer. So let's get into this. Tips and tricks on, can you hear that? Anyways, tips and tricks for a flawless base. Okay, hold on. I know some people don't believe in primer, but I guess I do. I mean, I wear primer every time. Okay, I am normal to oily skin, especially in the summer, and then winter I get a little bit more dry. My nose gets very dry if I don't keep up with exfoliating. Kind of get dry around my mouth, but those are the only places I get dry, and my nose is also very oily, and my chin gets pretty oily, but that's about it. I'm pretty normal. If you're towards the oily side, I would recommend a lightweight moisturizer or a gel water-based moisturizer because it won't add any more greasiness to your skin, but it's important to moisturize your skin. And for primer, I would recommend something mattifying. The only mattifying primer I have is L'Oreal Infallible Matte Lock. This is the only one I have because I told myself I would use it in the summertime, and I haven't really used it because I don't need to be matte. Maybe I'll use this today actually with something else. Yeah, you want something to mattify you, keep your oils in place, and that is good for that. I don't have a lot of primers to suggest to get you very matte, so there's that. If you want it to be hydrated, I really like this Tarte Base Tape Hydrating Primer. It feels like a nice moisturizer. It is on the thicker side. It is pretty thick, like a lotiony moisturizer, not a gel-based moisturizer. So it really just hydrate the skin, or like a glow oil, Monster Beauty glow oil, something like that to hydrate the skin. It's really good. And for a flawless base, always pore fill. Okay, I really like the No Problem, but I haven't used this in a while, and I used to use this a lot. This is the E.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer in Original. They do have a luminous one, which could help for dry skin, or a mattifying one, which could help for dry skin. Okay, wow, how that works. I'm using Original because, you know, I don't need to be matte. I am going in with this L'Oreal primer because I will work out later, and I am going back outside, even though I don't like wearing makeup with my mask, but whatever. Now, oh, another tip for a flawless base, okay, this will change the game for you if you have not done this yet. Shaving your face. I know it sounds crazy, but shaving your face, I use, depends on the day, depends on my mood. This one here always bothers me. If I want to like exfoliate my skin as I shave, then I'll use a thing like this. This is like for eyebrow hairs. I don't know what you call this, disposable something or other. I use this for 2 or 3 times, and then I toss it and I spray alcohol on it once I finish each time. This is really good to shave the face, and it exfoliates, gets a lot of dead skin off. I really like that method. I also use this Flawless Finish painless hair remover. I don't know what it's called. I know it's like 20 bucks at the Ulta or wherever. This is really good and painless. I kid you not. No pain whatsoever. You can buy replacement heads, you charge it. It's perfect if I just want to touch something up like this, especially. I'll just go over with this real quick, and if I want to just go into skincare, then I'll use the razor kind of thing. I'm gonna put on this primer and I'll be right back to talk about foundation. I just thought I should actually show you where I put my pore filling. Not on my lip. I'll put it on my chin. Why do I have pores on my chin? Not in particular. I just put it on my chin. For whatever reason, I put it on my nose and my T-zone. I put a lot. Oh, so I guess it's going everywhere. Right here on my smile line. And I put it on my forehead because I have forehead lines. Because I love to make faces. So, and then I'll just take like a clean part of my sponge, press it in. Like that. Press. Okay. So today we are talking about getting a flawless full coverage base. So I'll talk about my favorite. After all of these, now let's go back to skin type. If you are oily, you probably want something more matte. I don't have anything super matte that I've been using and I can speak on a lot. Or I don't. The most matte I have is this L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour fresh wear foundation. It's not super matte. I feel like if you were dry, you could also get away with this with the hydrating primer underneath. This is more of a satin matte where it looks like skin, but it won't get super oily, especially if you set. So I really love this super full coverage inexpensive drugstore. Perfect. Just so happens that my next one is also drugstore. This is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion. In terms of a full coverage liquid foundation, this is the most dewy I have. This is super full coverage, super dewy, so if you have dry skin, this is probably a good option for you. I'm also going to talk about stick foundation. I want to mention sticks because if you're oily and you're worried about oils and your makeup breaking up, sticks may not be for you. I don't have any dry stick foundation formulas. I have not encountered one. I heard ABH is like very dry. But most stick formulas are very creamy and they will probably break up easier on oily skin. So I would be cautious with stick foundations, but I do have ColourPop, which is full coverage, and this Hourglass Vanish stick, very full coverage, very beautiful. It's not super dewy, but it is creamy. It's a little bit thicker than a liquid, so it's easier to break up if you get oily. Just putting not out there, but my favorite. If you have oily skin, normal skin, or dry skin, this is for you. 100 Shades Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Foundation. It has a pump, it has a doe foot. It's supposed to be foundation and concealer. It's good. It's so good. It's full coverage, but you can lighten it up. It doesn't feel very heavy. It's not matte, it's not dewy, it's a nice skin finish. I have the shade TN3, and I like to use the doe foot, put it on my cheeks, and on my jawline, on my chin. It's so good. And I'm using a Juno & Co. sponge to blend this out. My lighting's changing. Yeah, just stipple it out. Just honestly, to blend out foundation, use whatever makes you feel comfortable. I'll blend out one side with the sponge, and then the other with my brush. I will say, if you are using a stick foundation, I would prefer using a brush. And right now I'm going to blend the other side with my Sephora 232 brush. First I stipple it out to distribute the product, and then I'll buff. It's easier to like spread out the product with the brush, and sometimes a brush will give you more matte coverage, I guess. And you see already it's a little bit more dewy with the sponge, a little bit more matte with the brush. Honestly, for me, I use a brush definitely with sticks, and then I'll maybe go over with my sponge just to even things out and give it a more skin-like effect, you know, if I have the time. Need more coverage on my nose. But I've been more into a sponge lately. Like last year I was definitely into a brush, but now I've been back into a sponge. It's just really a matter of preference, to be honest. But I would definitely use a brush like this. Well, mine is pretty old and like I need a new one for sure. It's kind of like a dome, pretty dense, but not too dense where like it barely moves. And when you're blending, don't forget right there in your eye. So you don't want any strange lines of demarcation where there's no foundation and there is foundation. I want it to be seamless. And the neck, get the neck, oh my god, please get the neck. And the ears. I don't really do my ears because my hair's always down, but the ears too. I don't focus on my eyelids too much because that's where I put concealer, and I don't focus my foundation right up under my eyes because I don't want it to get caked up, and that's where I put concealer. So, for concealer, if again you are matte and you want something more creamy, Too Faced multi-use, super, and I mean creamy and full coverage. This right here, super full coverage. If you are oily and need something a little bit more matte, this Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer, she's matte. Also this Fenty Beauty, which I'm going to use today, super matte. This full coverage, but it's a like for me a little bit too dry, like a little bit. I have to put something a little bit creamier with it, but super matte and full coverage. But today using my favorites, another full coverage queen Makeup Forever self-setting concealer. I'm mixing today because this isn't like as light as I want it to be. Definitely get the concealer right here, inner corner of the eye, my under eye. Make sure I get the outer corners. And then I'm going with this Fenty just to lighten it. I guess lightening a little bit. There's the Jaclyn method where she lets it sit for a little bit. If you are oily and you're using something very matte, be careful how long you wait to blend out your concealer because it might dry down really fast. These concealers don't dry down particularly fast. The Too Faced, you can let that sit for like 10 minutes and still be able to blend it, but just be mindful of the product you're using and how much time you have to blend it out, because concealers can, even foundations can self-set, and then wherever you placed it, like if I waited too long to blend this, it'll be stuck like this, and if I try to blend it out, there'll be lines, so be aware. I finished with my eyes just to build the most coverage under my eyes. That's why we wait to blend the concealer, because it will leave the most coverage if you wait. I put this on my eyelids. Then you already know. My favorite under eye setting powder, Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. This stuff is magic. It's not very thick and cakey. It's perfection. Blending out any creasing under my eye. I'm going to take the cleaner part, my sponge, and tap into that powder. Just take a big fluffy brush. So, all over. We are going in with the Wet n Wild's Photofocus powder. If you are dry, I would stay stick to the. If you were dry, I would stick to the Charlotte and leave it at that, because it wouldn't dry you out. But loose powders like this are more likely to dry you out. Just putting that out there. So we're going full coverage, and I want to bake, so I'm going to take side eye powdered, dip it in my sponge. I feel like I got something in my eye. We're going to bake the inner eye. If you are dry, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. I look like one of those charts. I'm more sensitive when it comes to powder, so I usually wipe it off really fast. Now I want to add moisture back into the skin. Even if you're oily, I would suggest doing this just to soak up some of the excess powder. I am going to go bake again once I bronze and contour, but Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, if you're dry, if you're oily, if you're regular. Best setting mist. It's not too wet, it's not too oily. Makes everything blend into one another. And now we're going into complexion. I have this Cocoa Contour Kit from Boxycharm, and this will be really good to help us contour the face. No, that one was too light last time. I'm going in with this medium shade. My lighting is I'm going to sculpt the cheeks. I'm using a very light hand because I don't often contour. So I go right on my cheekbones, blend it out. We are going to bronze. Now when it comes to the next products, it's not so much more about skin type as how your skin is. If you have a lot of texture, which I have texture, but it's mostly like up here and right here and here, everywhere. Then you don't want to use a lot of shimmery products. Of course, highlight is shimmering, and I'll talk about that later. But when it comes to bronzer, which I'm going in with now, if you have a lot of texture on your cheeks, I would recommend a matte bronzer. I know people with dry skin really like glowy bronzers because they like to amp up the glow, which that will help. Powders are powders, you know, but there are certain powders, super matte powders, that will definitely keep your makeup matte. If you have a super glowy powder, you know, it just adds on to the glow. But right now I'm going in with the Wet n Wild Wet Shady Beaches Color Icon Bronzer. I'm going to big component for like $4. I'm going to bronze my cheeks. Oh, it's so good. Bronzer is my favorite. I don't really contour because I usually just sculpt my face with my bronzer, you know, but that contour does add a little extra oomph. Definitely want to blend it into the hairline. Don't give yourself away that you're wearing makeup, you know. And make sure you don't bring bronzer too far in, because then you lose that good dimension and good shape. Bring it in like here. So you want to leave this bright. You can make your forehead more narrow. The further you bring your bronzer, you can make your forehead shorter. Further down, you bring your bronzer. I have a pretty decent forehead size, so I don't do too much with that. And when you bronze, you want to keep it on your cheekbone and a little bit higher. You don't want to bring it down because then you start creating really big shadow. It's unflattering. Also, then I'm bronze on the neck. Also, if you're doing a full coverage look, if you're wearing a low cut top, you need to bring your foundation down. At least to even it out, or like your bronzer, just to even everything out and make it look cohesive, because this, it's easier to blend in, you know, because you don't see so much skin, it's just my neck. But if I had a v-neck or like a scoop neck, then the color of my chest might be different from my face, and it'll start looking crazy. I contour my nose with bronzer, just because that's what I'm used to. And that's what I prefer. Also put it right here in my cupid bow. Then I go over all of that with my big powder brush. Alright, now this is a trick a lot of beauty gurus do. I'm taking the same powder on my sponge, cutting the cheeks. After this, I tell you, I wipe it off right away. Look, I already gave that line. Blend it out, brighter, cleaned up a little bit. I don't need to leave it on for long. Now I'm going in with blush. Again, if you have a lot of texture, I would say stay away from a very glowy blush. Go more matte, but I like to glow. I like matte. I'm going in with this BH Cosmetics Chocolate Cherry palette. So pretty. So pretty. I'm going in with these two shades. Let's see what colors they are. No. The first two. The first one is very matte, and then this one has a little bit of sheen. So, put it on my cheeks. Now with highlight, use this. I think I used this in my last video, the one before that. This Jaclyn Hill lighting palette. I have the Flash. There's another one with deeper tones. Looks like this. So pretty. When it comes to highlight, whether or not you have texture or not, well, I do have texture, especially on my cheekbones, especially on this cheek. You want a highlight that's blinding, if that's your tea. That's my tea. Blinding highlight. You want it to be very smooth. Some highlights are very metallic and they can end up showing a lot of texture, but these these are very, very smooth on the skin. And I'm only speaking on the formula in this palette. My freaking lighting's crazy. This is my favorite shade. Look how blinding that is. Do that. And another way to help with texture arises from highlight sometimes, because your base being very powdery and matte, and then something more metallic and shimmery going on top. So I will spray my face again and focus it on the sides of my face. Already looking more dewy. And then you can wait for your spray to dry down completely, or a little bit dry, or wet completely, and then go in with the highlight. So I'm going in with these two. No, these two. Let's do these two. Then I just use my powder brush. I blend everything in. Then the last step is setting spray. If you're dry, I would say something very, well, what's going on? Something very dewy like this. Anything like shimmer mist. That's very, very good. Should I use that? No, because I'm going back outside. I'll ruin myself. There are mattifying mists out there. I don't have any because I don't like to be matte. I don't need to be matte. But I do like this Catrice Prime and Fine. It doesn't really give anything super dewy. Hold on. Okay, that's the complexion done. I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup and I'll be back. Like a peanut. Okay guys, that's the end of this video. I just put on eyebrows, mascara, and a lip gloss. I was gonna do eye look, then I got tired and I need to go vote. But yeah, that's my video on how to get the perfect flawless foundation base. Very similar products to what I would use on a daily basis. It's just like the amount of time I would put into a very full coverage look is different to my everyday look. The amount of powders, all of that. But okay guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoy. Comment down below some of your favorite products for a full coverage look and some videos you want to see from me next. If you like this video, hit the like button down below, comment, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification if you're feeling froggy. I post every Thursday and Sunday. If you like me and you like this video, show it to a friend, one friend, all your friends, Instagram, Twitter. I link all my social media down below and link my card down below if you're interested in any of the makeup I'm selling. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.